Batman Santa Claus Silent Night issue 3, Jeff Parker writing with Michelle Bandini and Trevor Hairsine on the art. So, this issue splits up into a couple of things. The first chunk of it is the fallout to the tease last time that I called them angels. They call them...
Yeah. They're harpies.
Harpies, thank you. They call them harpies here in this issue. So they've been released and they've flown from Scotland down to London, by the sounds of it. Which, I guess, fair enough. I do worry, though, sometimes that writers are like, oh, they're both the UK, they're right next to each other. They're not really.
No, it's quite, like, I don't know what the size of your island is, but as far as I know, that's pretty a big distance, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, like, obviously it's nothing compared to some of the distances in the US, but it's just kind of like... I worry it's like, oh, London's the most famous city in the UK, so we'll say London, even though it would have made more sense to say, I don't know, like Edinburgh or something, because it's actually in the same country, but whatever.
Well, sometimes I feel like it's the artists also just want to draw landmarks, right? So they can find spots to draw, so... You
say that, but I'm looking through these pages and I don't see a single landmark.
No?
Anyway, so this is basically Hawk Girl... fighting these along with Joe, which was an interesting little pull.
Yeah.
And this is in continuity, so I do wonder, like, the status of Joe's Green Lantern hood and the current Green Lantern ongoings that are happening.
And her ring is quite different as well, if I remember Far Sector right.
That's true. So, very interesting. But they're working together, and then Wonder Woman shows up. I will say on the art here, this is going to sound like a weird complaint almost, but not having the white trim on the blue warrior skirt, or whatever you want to call those parts, felt like it was really missing. It's almost like it looks naked almost without the white trim, and it felt weird just having the solid blue. It's a minor thing, really, but it's consistent in all the panels she's in. So it's definitely the choice they've made here.
It's an artistic choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it felt off.
Like just too plain. Like there was something missing, I guess. But yeah, they're fighting all the harpies, and it's all kind of in the grey clouds of the UK, which that does seem accurate, to be fair. So she tries to communicate with one by lassoing it to find out what's going on. But yeah, so that's the first chunk of the issue. That's kind of the action half of the issue is all that fight. Which the last issue, issue 2 kind of did that as well with, remember Miss Martian and some of the other, Green Arrow I think was there, and they were fighting some of the monsters. So we do cut to Superman, Batman, and Blue Beetle, of all people, who's constantly amazed that they're going off to see Santa Claus. But they meet an elf. And the elf is like, well, technically we're this, but yes, we've become to known as elves.
They're called the Holdu folk, which I'm sure comes from Norse mythology as well, because there's two different kinds of elves. These guys look more like the light elves, but it doesn't help that his name's Peppermint John.
No.
Like, yeah, buddy, you're an elf, all right? You're making the toys. But I do love that Parker's constantly just twisting the Santa mythos a little bit here. And, he offers them they couldn't return to their lands. And so he gave them, essentially a sanctuary, but for a trade, they have to help him make the toys. So, I like that comes into play. It's still not forgetting this is a Santa book.
Yeah, and even Superman's kind of starstruck when he meets Santa, and he's like, Kent, farm in Smallville. He's like, you read my letter? Like he's in awe. He's in awe. It's quite charming because he's Superman.
I love it. And this is where the Bandini art picks back up. Just the big goofy smile on Clark's face. I can't believe you read my letter. And then Blue Beetle's like, hey, man, back here, as they're fighting this giant sea serpent. You know?
Well, that's what Santa was doing when they come through the portal. As he was fighting this big urchin. And we actually see Superman is inside it and lifts it up from the inside, so we get this big visual of this, like, it's an urchin, so it's like a big snake almost, just like in the sky, and the sun's beaming behind it. It's all very entertaining. But so we get again a portal to Krampus, right? Batman Batgirl, Blue Beetle, the elf, and all that. They go to Greenland because that's where Krampus is, and they go on the hunt. Black Canary blasts them with her voice. Superman and Co are still fighting the sea urchin, but Superman flies out, goes after Krampus, and tries to get a hold of him. But
Superman has him in a pretty good, like, it's not quite a choke, right? But he's got him, and so I'm watching. I'm like, how's Krampus going to get out of this? Was not expecting what happens next.
Yeah, Superman gets
possessed.
Yeah, he's infected. He basically starts working for Krampus. Well, Krampus grabs Damien because he's like, "You're an awful little child. You need to be punished." which I did think was quite funny, actually. Is him kidnapping Damien because he is an awful child
and taking him to hell. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, there's an army of folklore beings coming to fight Santa. So possessed Superman's hovering above, and the last page is all these. What would you even call these? Like,
well, they look like frost giants and trolls. It looks like Fenrir. So again, these all look like Norse mythological.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at. Is various Norse sort of. Yeah, not gods, but various.
Yeah, creatures.
Yeah, creatures. Yeah, I guess that's the best word.
Yeah, so Superman gets possessed, and they say this one has been in our realm before. They think they win when they lose. So that's a tell, and then it seems like it's another. So like Krampus is still possessed, right? So it's not like whatever had Krampus jumps into Clark. It says, "Take the mighty man, I remain in the wild one." Right? So, because I thought at first, because I had to go back and reread this back half, I thought, Krampus had just like, it freed from Superman, and then he just grabbed Damien because that's what he's used to, right? Taking the naughty kids. But no. So I thought that was, that's part of the clue. So I'm trying to figure out who's corrupted Krampus, right?
Yeah, but it seems like it's like there's more than one evil entity, and like the second one is possessed Superman, and the first one's still possessing Krampus.
And so and then so these are creatures that because remember Santa came with the Wild Hunt, got left behind. These are creatures that he had hunted and had locked in this glacier, and Superman cracks it open, and that's how they come out.
Yeah.
So we have the next one coming out this week. Curious to see where it goes.
It's the last issue next as well.
Yeah, and so curious to see where it goes with the folklore and who's behind all of this. But it seems like now that this is in continuity, and that Santa's a DC character now. And if they wanted to, I would every year a Santa special around this time. I would definitely read it.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, it's an interesting little spin on things. It's like, okay, there's a big bad that's actually corrupting Krampus, and that same big bad is now corrupting Superman. Is that something they're going to be pulling from Norse mythology, or is this a DC thing that's just, is this going to turn out to be a DC villain that's doing this? I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that he says this one's been to our realm before tells me something. I don't know what that is though, but they're talking about Superman, so I've been racking my brain. I get nothing. I mean, nothing is coming up yet.
Superman's went to obviously other Earths, other universes. Realm sounds less like another Earth though, and more like I don't know, like a dimension, like an offset. Yeah, like the Phantom Zone's a realm, right? But yeah, so I mean, good on the mystery for Parker that I haven't been able to piece this together. But I'm definitely enjoying it, and the Bandini art especially. I'm not a big fan of that hair sign art. Like, it wasn't just the Wonder Woman, skirt, trim and stuff. I guess when I know what they were trying with the hair being up and around because she's flying in the air. It just, I don't know, the art just kind of looked messy.
It's a little bit too sketchy for my liking, and that works when it's like deceased and we can play on the zombie tropes and all of that. Or even I think Hairsign did some Animal Man, if I'm not mistaken, during Rot World. Again, that makes sense, but here with the harpies and just everything, I don't know, just not my taste. So when we finally got to the Bandini art, I was very happy.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the art overall from Hairsign. I thought it had a lot of sense of motion, had a lot of speed lines and things like that. The atmosphere of it was quite good. It was really just, it felt like Wonder Woman had a slightly different outfit than she's supposed to have, and that just kind of just caught me off guard. But I would say I like the Hairsign art in here. Like, I think he definitely has his weak spots occasionally, and I definitely remember that in Deceased, where sometimes he'd do like skinny heads or whatever. But I wasn't really catching his weaknesses here in this this half of the issue. But I mean.
Like, again, it just comes down to taste, I think.
I think it is just a taste thing here, because I don't think it's bad at all.
Yeah.
All right, well, what are you giving?
Despite that, I'm still going to give this an 8.
Okay. What do I want to give it? I'll go 8 as well. Well, yeah, I'll go 8 as well.